All right. Welcome. My name is Jake Beers, Elementary Science Tosa here for Springdale Public Schools. And we're going to go ahead and walk through 4th grade Unit 4, which is waves and then communication. So we're going to begin by exploring what is a wave. And so with students, we look at this really cool acoustic guitar string video shot from the inside of a guitar, which is an awesome phenomenon where we see the guitar strings in this crazy wave pattern. So it's a great way to introduce this idea of what's going on, what do you notice, what kind of phenomenon do we see. And then we explore with slinkies. So with this slinky, students are going to be making, actually theirs look more like this. These are actually in the 1st grade kits if you haven't got them yet. So make sure you get those from your 1st grade teacher. So slinkies are going to be, and ropes, jump ropes work just fine too. We're going to be exploring this idea of what is a wave. And so students are going to be making different waves. So when you move the slinky back and forth with a rope, that's called a transverse wave, and it sends the wave back down. So students are going to explore with that and do some diagramming. And then students are going to use this pulse motion, and they're going to make a longitudinal wave. They won't know what it's called yet, but they're going to explore this idea of what do you notice, what do you see, what do you wonder. And so we explore with slinkies and ropes to begin this unit. After that, we do a couple of reading articles. So we'll do a Freyr model to really talk about what's a wave, what moves through waves. And since we'll learn that energy is what's moving through the wave. And so Unit 2 in 4th grade is energy, so it's a great connection between the unit they just finished and the current unit today. So after that, we move into, within that wave unit, there's properties of waves. There's a properties of wave article, and then students do a online simulator from PhET, like a wave simulator where they show what waves look like. And then they end with a probe about waves moving a boat. And so hopefully students have learned through the videos and exploration that energy is what's traveling on a wave and not matter. So on a boat, the boat officially would just be moving up and down in the water as a wave passes by, because the matter just stays where it is. And so that's an interesting concept for students to explore about what is a wave. We then move into sound, because sound obviously travels in a wave. It actually travels in a longitudinal wave, like that oscillational wave right there. And so we're going to explore sound. We actually use this picture-perfect lesson called Sounds of Science, and we make these little instruments with straws where you cut the top of it and play the instrument, and students explore these. So they're talking about how do we make sound, how do we hear sound. We do some activities with rice. So rice and then we hit like a bottle on saran wrap, and we see that the rice moves. So things like that are some activities that we do with sound. We explore with making high and low pitches. So we change the sound of our straw through making it shorter. And then students have a couple reading opportunities. The Remarkable Farley McBride, and then another nonfiction book called Sound. Students also explore with things like this spoon and string, and they investigate different types of strings. So they put this in their ear, the string in their ears, and then make a gong sound. So they look at how that spoon travels through the string, the vibrations travel through the string, and how different strings make different, you'll hear different sounds. Students also can make a little harmonicas, craftstic harmonicas, to talk about this idea of sound. There's also there's a virtual exhibit online about dangerous sounds, and that actually connects back to the ACT Aspire at the end, so how sounds change. We do a little bit with echolocation, so how we can hear sounds and how animals use sound, like bats and dolphins. There's a great video on fish finders, how fish finders use sound to locate sound waves to locate things. They can see that visualization there. And then we wrap up with a lab where students are listening to snaps and seeing if they can identify where the sound is and how that helps us to survive. We then move into communication, and so we talk about different ways that we communicate. And so one of the ways that we communicate, or we used to communicate, was with Morse code. And so there's an activity in the unit where students can build these simple Morse code transponders, and there's a video on how to do this. But they could also use just having them put the thing together. You can see the light bulb light up right there, or they can use this little, make a little paperclip one that will light the bulb. There we go. And they can use that as a Morse code. So there's a lot of ways for students to explore the Morse code. There's different workbook, different pages where students are learning about Morse code, what was Morse code. And then we transition from Morse code to binary code. And so we look at how binary code and how computers use binary code, which was similar to Morse code. And so students learn about binary code. They do their initials in binary code. They send messages in binary code. And we learn about how computers and mostly all of our digital devices use binary code. There's a great connection to coding standards and computer science standards. And then there's a couple days of a digital transitioning digital information where students do an activity talking about how packets of information are shipped digitally and sent back. And then the unit ends with an ACT Aspire Inspired assessment, and that's a great connection for our students to connect with there. So again, I hope you guys enjoy making transverse and longitudinal waves as we explore this idea and concept of waves, and I know your kids will enjoy the hands-on activities.